Alrighty, now finally we get to have some fun. Introduction to the Cisco CLI. We all know what that means, right? Command line interface. So just don't say I throw acronyms at you, then you tell me I don't tell you what it is. Command line interface. All right, and more. That's a surprise. All right, so we're gonna start how? How in the world do we access the CLI? Well, I'll show you how to do it through a console cable, which is the way you gotta do it in your certification, or through an Ethernet cable within your own segment, or remotely. That means you gotta set up telnet access or SSH access, some sort of secure access. Should be secure access. Let me say that. All right, so you can get to it. Then we're gonna start navigating through the CLI. We'll start learning the very basics, user mode, global config, interface configurations, subnet configurations on the router, on the switch. It's basically almost the same. The switch, though, slightly different because of what the role they play in the network. So we'll learn the basics of that. When that is, then we get into administrative commands. Yes, there are certain commands that you should do on the router and on the switch themselves, okay? And then we secure them, very basic security, right? Which should be, I think it's part of my administrative commands, is you need to put in console passwords, Prismo passwords. Again, here you have a choice, either Telnet or SSH. SSH would be the better choice. All right, and of course, using a local username and password. And we may do some other commands there as well. Let's see, maybe we'll do some DNS, host resolution, stuff like that. So we'll get it, maybe get into that, but definitely we will need to use local username and passwords because we will secure also the router, okay, or the switch using a radius server, okay, which is later in this presentation. Securing the router using basic security. Did I just say, what did I say? They didn't pass? Okay. How do switches learn? Okay, this is just, it's easy. It's, first of all, what do they learn and how do they learn it? Okay, well, when we get to it, I'll show you. Switches don't need any help from anybody to do anything. All right, now you do want to avoid loops using span tree. We'll very lightly touch the spanning tree and the types of spanning tree that exist. And then there's an actual presentation which will talk deep at a lab, deep into spanning tree, okay? Configuring multiple interfaces at once using the range command. You've seen me do it. We've done it in other lectures. So we're gonna go ahead and do this again, more specific, okay? Administratively control the interface state with the shutdown command. If you're doing security on a port, if you're doing something and that interface is shut down, you can turn it on. Right, so if you're doing, let's say, port security, which we will, if you put in a computer, a PC, that's not supposed to be on that network, the port will shut down automatically and it will go into an error disable state. Well, guess what? Now you get a little whatever third-party software you're using, we're using SolarWinds or whatever it is, and you get a little beep or a cell phone call or a flag gets thrown up, somebody yells at you, whatever the case may be, that port shut down, you got to turn it back on, no shut, and then you're good to go. All right, so you can administrate those particular ports. Port security, we have 3 things we'll learn, which is the sticky, maximum number of MAC addresses that we can use, and violations. And then we get into the AAA authentication using a server. Obviously, it's a packet tracer doing this. All right, so on a real world scenario, maybe slightly different, but the concept is the same. Username and password, you got a secret key, okay? Things like that is what we'll be configuring. No big deal. And again, you'll have all this information up in the lectures. Okay? Then we go to implementing VLANs. We've done it already. How to create a VLAN? Very easy. What will be the benefits of it? We'll discuss that briefly. How to name a VLAN. When I say here it's not required but not recommended, that is nowhere in the literature, in any book, anywhere. Okay, but I'm putting it in there because people have asked me that question. I don't want to give my VLAN a name. Okay, so you're going to let the switch do it for you. So if you do VLAN 3, it's going to be the name of it. If you don't name it, it's going to be 003. So how do you know what department that is? I mean, unless you just, you're that good. All right, so name your VLANs, right? By floor, by department, however, but give it a name. If not, the switch will give it one. All right, that's why I say it's not required because it will get one, but it is recommended so you know what it is. We'll talk about trunk ports and their importance. And then we'll talk about VTP, virtual trunking protocol. That has nothing to do with trunk ports, okay? These are different modes, and we'll get into it. There's 3, server, client, and transparent, all right? So we'll get into that briefly again. We're not into too much detail, a little brief, but you do need to know that because there may be questions that will say, hey, why isn't this PC being updated, or why did this PC just get updated? So VTP, very important. All right, and lastly, INTER-VLAN configuration. Yes, we'll be doing the router on a stick, all right, which is one router connected to your core switch, whatever that may be, and then it'll be connected to that, all right, using only one router, like I just said. The encapsulation type, 802.1q or .1q, all right, as we do it when we do it on the router. This is the one you're going to use, not ISL, inter switch link. There you go, another acronym, inter switch link. All right, what does it mean? All right, well, it's the same thing as .1q. It'll actually say, hey, this is a VLAN that's not the native VLAN. Let me put a tag on there, but this is old school. This is new school. Okay, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, Google is the best thing in the world, and it's cost effective because if you have 1,000 routers, you're not going to buy 1,000 interfaces where you can plug in all your LANs in, right? You're not going to do that. So that's why we're going to do a router on a stick, because you may just confront it. You may be in there and you may see that. All right. So this is what we're going to go over. So get ready and let's have some fun. I'll see you inside.